Okay. Excellent. Let's get this party started. Welcome everybody to tonight's planning committee meeting. First, number one, first on the item is to note any apologies for absences. We have the town mayor and also Councillor Peacock, who are not here for personal commitments. I'd just like that to be noted, if that's okay for everybody.
Noted.
Thank you. Item number 2 is to receive the minutes of the meeting held on the 6th of July. This is for accuracy. Please can I'll propose this. Can I ask for a second?
I'll second that, Chair.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair. Are there any comments? All those in favour?
Carried.
Thank you very much. Perfect. Thank you very much. Here we go. To receive members' declarations of interest is item number 3. Would anybody like to declare their interests? Wine.
Usual, Mr. Chairman, Mid Sussex District Council.
Okay.
District Planning Council.
Thank you very much.
And although we have no applications tonight, I do sit on the Mid Sussex licensing committee.
Fabulous. Thank you very much. Councillor Mockford and Councillor Whitaker. That's fantastic. Chairman's announcements, item number 4. We are advised that West Sussex County Council have passed a motion at their most recent council meeting for the leader of the council to write to the Secretary of State for Levelling Up, Housing and Communities to state its concerns over a proposed infrastructure levy and the possible impact it could have on funding. Since the introduction of the Community Infrastructure Levy, the SIL, in 2010, which was adopted by all but 2 of the planning authorities in West Sussex, Mid Sussex being one of those 2, as we all know, the County Council has seen a significant drop in funding for essential services. In the period of 2021-22, the County Council only received 6% of the SIL available in West Sussex. This is due to it only being a consultee in the SIL process and so having no control over setting and collecting the levy or deciding spending priorities and the allocation of funds. Under the government's proposal for the new system, which would replace Section 106 agreements and community infrastructure levy payments, the council would no longer be statutory consultees with regard to future planning developments in the county. This is clearly a concern that the SIL has not worked as it was expected to. However, as Mid Sussex did not adopt it, there has been minimal impact for Mid Sussex. It may be worth our confirming with West Sussex County Council all funds received regarding Mid Sussex District Council have and will be spent in Mid Sussex and not across the county. It's a question for everybody. So that's really just to give you an idea of what's been going on in the background at county with regards to that. And as soon as we get any more news, I will inform the committee of it. We have some excellent news as well that 72 London Road, next door to Kentucky Fried Chicken, has been bought out by a new developer and the hoarding has been replaced. Hopefully this dwelling that was passed, I think 18 months ago, will now be completed as planning permission was approved and works did start. And hopefully the eyesore will be consigned to history. We also have an appeal. Appeal is AP 220012. The council has received the decision concerning this particular appeal, which relates to 80 Woodbury Avenue in respect of planning application DM 200337 and DM 203014. The appeal was dismissed. So that's that. Okay, right, let's move on to the main items of the agenda. So we've got item number 5, which is protected tree applications. Committee are asked to make observations as may be considered necessary in respect of the application set out below. we would normally take these to the tree officer, but I think there are a few items on there that I feel councillors might be having a few words about.
Thank you, Chairman. The walnut tree that they wish to fell to the ground, apparently it's leaning because a car went into it. So it's the picture that they put on the portal. That's the plan.
Very detailed.
It's a tree. So I'm really not happy about that, but I'm happy to take what Mrs. Fletcher says. It's- And the other one I was a little concerned was with the removal of so many sycamores from the Dorset Arms. But obviously, I'm happy for the tree officer to make a report. But it does seem that on the application, the only criteria is it's shedding of leaves on his patio.
Yeah, I think that it would be perfect for us to express our concern over that. That's okay, Town Clerk.
Yes, with regard to the walnut tree, I would like a report before it was felled by the tree officer as to the safety of it, if it's been damaged beyond, because we wouldn't want to lose it if it is just something that can be either sorted or will naturally grow. Or
Yes,
I'd just like a tree officer report on it,
Yes.
before we agree with that.
absolutely.
I'd just like to say one thing that, in my opinion, if the tree officer, of whom does a very good job, and I think we all respect what he does, and he's obviously got a lot of knowledge, feels that one of these trees does need to be felled. He doesn't often say that, but when he feels that it does, I would have thought there's a very good reason to it.
Yeah, no, there is, but the tree officer hasn't seen them yet. So
They haven't seen
no,
them.
they've not they've not seen the trees. So that's
They've
why
not
we're
made a recommendation.
expressing our concerns over
Okay.
over the details, Councillor Scott. And it's a she.
Just to help with the process of the tree officer in Mid Sussex, what happens is that because the trees are either protected or in a conservation area, they have to go through planning. It's the tree officer who is actually a member of the planning team who makes the decision as to whether or not they're going to be taken down or not. Yes, of course, she does write a full report, and she will be the one, or one of her staff, she does have two staff as well, who will be making the decision as to whether or not these protected trees are to come down. And obviously, when trees are felled in completeness, then protected trees have to be replanted as well. Yeah, so they are definitely going to be looked at by the tree officer, which is obviously what the usual suggestion is from this committee. But rather than us saying, which we normally do, that we would support approval subject to no adverse report from the tree officer, would you like something a little bit more robust around the walnut tree?
Please.
Yes. So what would you like, please,
Um,
Chair?
I would say that we're concerned that a tree like a walnut tree is going to be taken down, and it would need to be an extremely serious reason, safety reason for us to consider that this would be appropriate.
So let's say that you would only support it if it was necessary due to safety or disease,
Yes,
which would be the two reasons. Yeah. Okay, that's lovely. Thank you.
And if I can, we say the same for the sycamore, all 8 trees.
Could I ask you just to take a vote on that, please, Chair?
yes. I would propose that that's what we're going to be, what the town clerk has suggested that we put into the report. I would propose that in a second. All those in favour?
Thank you, Chair.
Okay. First item on the planning applications, we're going to go straight in with the DM 23/1743, which is by the fountain, 16 High Street. Proposed works for reinstating the Jubilee Fountain, including repairs and the installation of a pair of new raised spouts. There are no objections. And for those of us who would like to see that larger, let's do that. We're putting it in first because we have a guest from this Vincent Society, and I don't think we particularly want to sit through the rest of the meeting. So this is the, and obviously you need to have been living on Mars if you don't know what we're talking about with regards to the fountain. And this is literally, we're talking about the water spouts and what it's going to look like. Not Herentide.
It is.
The new boundaries, they keep dumbfounded by it after all these years. I was expecting Tony to say something, but he's not. It's you, Craig.
I'm more than happy to speak on this, Chair. So,
Oh, before you do that, actually, I did have to say something. I beg your pardon, class. The council, I need to just make sure everyone's aware of this. The council will be looking after the fountain and paying all of the associated costs to keep it flowing once the renovation is complete. Therefore, we have an interest as a council. Committee are asked to please restrict their comments on this application only to the effect in the context to the proximity of listed buildings in the conservation area. Please can we not make comments as to the project nor the fountain as a whole to avoid our comments being misconstrued or as predetermined. So just, yeah, slightly aware of that.
Some cost of
Sorry,
what you were saying. Could you just repeat that first
Yeah,
sentence?
the council, this is just for everybody's reference so that we don't predetermine it. We don't want it to get to Mid Sussex and for it to be turned away. So council will be looking after, we're going to be looking after the fountain as a council and paying for all the associated costs to keep it flowing once the renovation is complete. Therefore, we have an interest and the committee are asked to please restrict our comments on this application only to the effect the taps have in the context of the proximity of listed buildings in the conservation area. But please, can we not make comments as to the project as a whole or the fountain to avoid comments being misconstrued as predetermined. So, just over to you.
So in relation to the taps in the fountain, I think the taps are in keeping and have been used at similar historical fountains, and therefore I would wholeheartedly support them. There are going to be two taps for those that I was not aware until I looked in more detail. There's one on the south and one on the north. They're on either side of the fountain. And so they'll be able to be seen by people walking both the pedestrian side and on the raised side across from shops. It's in keeping, the plaque as well is, I think, in keeping with the historic monument and would be, the inscription I think is appropriate given the significance and the history of the fountain. But yes, I have no objections. I would wholeheartedly support this application.
All right, so I will
The
say
taps, not the fountain.
Don't say that
The taps in the fountain.
I will
The
second
two
that.
taps in the fountain to be factually accurate.
I'll second the approval there. Would anybody like to make any comments? Mrs.
It's just a question. Excuse my ignorance. Is this drinking water?
I was going to say that, yeah.
Yes.
It is drinking water.
I was going to say that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Any more?
I'm a bit worried I'm talking about the fountain, but I wanted to say that.
There's no wine involved.
There's no wine.
Councillor Scott.
All those in favour? Yeah, great. Fabulous. Thank you very much. Well done. First bit. It's very quick.
Well, just so you know, it's clearly you haven't quite got the message, but the problem is with putting back the original dolphins, which in my way of thinking are ugly fish, is pilfering over the history. Originally there were 4 dolphins, 2 of which spouted water. We're going to replace those by that small block in the middle there, but because this is out of focus, you can't see it very well, but the block in the middle, the idea is to have a similar shape to the fountain itself. And it's a hollow block which enables us to put the pipes in the middle and do the connections in the middle. And as you mentioned, that those particular taps have been used in many restorations in London, particularly. Heritage of London Trust, HOLT, have had a campaign, and the taps will only be for filling water bottles. That's the important thing. They're not meant for people to put their mouth underneath. So it's just clarification for you, really,
Thank you very much.
to minimise the use of plastic bottles.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you so much. Great stuff. There we go. So if you want to leave now, you're more than
I
welcome.
might be
to.
sitting and listen to a few more, and then I'll just disappear quietly.
Excellent, okay.
That's all right,
Yeah, absolutely.
but your focus is not very good on that thing.
I'll bear that in mind. Right. So our next application is DM 231608, land to the south of Fen Place Mill, Turners Hill Road, Turners Hill. And it's the erection of a residential dwelling and on a field. There are objections from several neighbours as to the loss of countryside. Planning matters are concerned as to sharing the current access road for construction, and a few other items that were on the portal. I'll just quickly go through the location first. So if you come out of East Grinstead, you go past Vowers Lane, under the tunnel, over the Medway, River Medway Bridge, and it's that field immediately on your right. If you go up the hill, it goes round the bend to the right. Oh, my computer, sorry guys. Round the hill to the right, and then you've got Mill Place. The entrance is on the next bend, which is a left-hand turn. Which is, I will try and see if I can. Expand. So this is the Turners Hill Road, down here, and that's that left-hand bend here. And then you've got the entrance to some houses here on the right. Does everybody know where I mean in terms of location? Yes.
Yes, so it's
Point
part-
to the building that it's talking.
Well, it's in terms of location. So you've got, this is where they're looking to build the house. The Turners Hill Road comes up here, and then down there is East Street, which takes you to Crawley Down, to Turners Hill Road. So that road then goes down here. The river is here, and the bridge where you turn that left-hand, tight left-hand turn is here. The bridge is there. So this is the field on the right-hand side if you're going towards Turners Hill. Currently, there are no. It's an agricultural field. Okay. So let me just get you the details. So this is their plans, of sort of imagery of what they're looking to do. We've got some other images here which so you can just get a sort of a topographical look of it. What they're looking to do. The words arts and crafts were mentioned quite a lot in terms of the design. They've gone into quite a lot of detail in this property, I have to say, in terms of what they're doing from a sustainability perspective. They've put a lot of thought into it. So the location, we've got the location in terms of an overhead. So this is the field here. And that's the Turners Hill Road here. The entrance through here. That goes round, and then the property would be about there. you've got several dwellings here and here, and a big farm there. And then obviously you've got East Street here, so you've got a few houses just a bit further up on here, and then you've got what was the old, it's now a caravan sales place, which is here. That's the location again. And then the drawings for the property. Let's see if I can just. So it's substantial, but it's 5 bedrooms, multi-generational property in a field that has obviously no development in it at the moment. So I also added a few images of sort of arts and because they mentioned arts and crafts quite a lot, so I thought I'd just have a quick look at that. There are a few, I mean, I get that the overall sort of modern look to it, I think. So I'm going to. So this is located in East Grinstead South, and Councillor Bells is not obviously on this committee, so I will take I'll take the reins on this one. I actually like it as a property. I would say that there's a few things actually within the application. There's an ecology survey and a biodiversity survey that haven't quite been finished, or that within the application that haven't addressed some of the issues. And there's a highways query as well, which needs a review and more information. Along that, where that entrance is to that driveway, is a public footpath that's used quite a lot by walkers, and particularly B of E as well. And it's one of those, it's quite dangerous actually, because you have to cross that road to get over a stye to get into the field on the other side of the road. So I'd be tempted to see if they could do anything with that public right of way within the development and see if they could enhance it, make it a bit safer, potentially. There's a few items in the urban design guide that they've put together, which Mid-Sussex have asked for changes which haven't been actioned. So again, I think I'd be keen to approve subject to those items all being satisfied. And in terms of EP 15, which is new homes in the countryside, planning applications would be looked at favourably in case of new isolated homes in the countryside where the design of the dwelling is of exceptional quality and it enhances its immediate setting and is sensitive to the character of the area. I mean, obviously that is very subjective, but I would be of the opinion that I think that fits with them. So that's rationale for my reason for approval. If I could have a second or not.
I'll second what you said.
Thank you. So we'll open it up to the floor for.
Can I just ask a question? Is it ever at any time going to be visible from the road? It seems like it's set back an awful long way.
No, I don't think so, because
it didn't look like it would be visible from the road.
You've got quite a lot of on this road here. The road is lower than ground, the field level, and there's a big hedgerow along here, which I believe they're keeping.
Yeah.
They're also planting more trees up on this right-hand side here too. So the only place it's going to be visible is if there's a big Scandi-Goose here. And I think some of the cottages which are here too might see it.
Yeah, I don't actually mind if it is a little bit visible, because I think the aesthetics of the house I like. I really do like it. There can't be any. Is there any objections from other there are some.
There are some objections.
Now, are these people, I mean, if you've got an objection from a neighbour, how far away are the neighbour from this house? That's I mean, it looks very isolated.
It is isolated.
Yeah,
Yes, I
so-
wouldn't say they're not on top of each other. if you know.
No. So are the objections founded? I mean, if they're a long way away, I mean, they've got to have a decent objection to be approved. I mean, it's not cutting out their light. It's not altering the street scene. I mean, it's an isolated unit, and it just makes me think that if there is an objection, it's got to be very substantial.
Yes, there is. For balance, obviously, it's in the field. So there are items which we need to do. There are DP12, for instance, and DP14. DP14 particularly is something that could well be used as an argument against it. Councillor Wiscombe.
Yeah, sure, thank you. Can I just ask, I think this is in the area of outstanding natural beauty. Can you confirm?
I can confirm it's not.
It's not.
But
So
it is in the-
DP12 is
yes.
applicable to that.
It's in the countryside area development restraint,
Yeah,
and it's in the strategic gap between East
Yeah.
Winston and Crawley.
but it's not in AO.
No, it's on the other side.
That's important.
Chelmsford Road is your demarcation for that, and it's just the other
Just
side.
wanted to double check.
It is also within the
Right,
7-kilometre Ashdown Forest zone as well. If that sways anybody's opinion.
Not really.
So can I just ask, you said various things were outstanding, the highways, there were various things. Could you, have you got a list of what's outstanding?
Yes, I don't know the minute details, but within the urban design guide that they've put together, there are items that Mid Sussex have recommended that they've not put in this they haven't put into the application. There's a highways review and information that is missing in terms of access, and also the ecology surveys that are listed on the application haven't been actioned. So there's things like crested newts and habitats and the biodiversity element of it. They're thinking of putting in deer fencing around that particular field.
It's a large property. Is this purely for residential for a family? This is not going to be used any commercial?
No, it's
Enterprise.
purely residential. It's a multi-generational family home, 5 bedrooms. Councillor Pond.
So if I can just add that, so on the ecological side, I think they have got an ecological report which stated that it would increase biodiversity. That did not cover the water courses, for which I think, if I've read it correct, is what the outstanding point is on the ecological survey. What I would call out is that they are actually adding, if I've looked at it correctly, if you look at the northeast side there, you'll see there's more water. Actually, I think they're putting more water in than there was previously. When I'm looking at the original one, there was previously, if you look on the left-hand side, outside the boundary, that was the only water. So they actually are adding. So I think it's something of an oversight on their part that they've not actually assessed that, given that you would have thought by adding extra water, you would increase diversity and potentially help the newts. So I think it's less of a forgetting on purpose, potentially, one could argue, and more of an oversight on their part, given that they are actually adding more water than is currently there.
Yeah, thank you.
And the other point, if I can, Chair, the other point is obviously where the people are going to sit and their garden is on the inside. So I just want to make sure everybody spotted that. The buildings are on the outside and it's like a garden on the inside. So I suppose one of my points would be just to ensure that and what wasn't quite clear is, will the grounds outside still be used for farming? As in, if you look at that lovely picture of, it looks like wheat, or is it long grass?
Just
So
long grass, no.
is it just long grass?
It's not used for farming at the moment anyway.
It's just barren land.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. So I think it was just worth
It's not
clarifying.
agriculture,
No.
it's a field.
It's a field, not for agriculture. It's not current agricultural land.
Councillor Wiscombe.
I just want more comment. Yeah, obviously it's a very, very steeply sloping site. You see that from the contours, and just I can kept driving up and set it down there. Just the River Railway is not that far away, so the effect on, and that's a heritage asset. And also that junction, that is a very fast sort of bend, quite a fast bend. So I think the traffic clarification is going to be really important on the same, particularly the safety aspect.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. There's a semi-blind bend if
Mm.
if you're coming out.
It's a very nasty,
It's tight, very
very
tight.
I wouldn't want to be coming out
Yeah.
of that junction. If it's a tree, so I think it would be tricky.
So we have a vote for approval on the table. It's been seconded. So we just need to go to the vote really, unless anybody else would like to make any more comments.
Can I make one?
Yes, of course.
My essential is drawn to the ecological survey. I wonder if we could make a note whether we approve or recommend approval or not. We could make a note that we would be looking to see the full clarification in the end on that particular piece of work, and maybe that could fit the bill with the other outstanding issues as well. Just a little note to say that to highlight that we appreciate that's not quite full. Yeah,
Okay, I
I
think
don't know if that'd be appropriate or not, but
we could,
I think I've got something like that in.
if we've written it down as a subject to satisfy, subject to be satisfied, these particular items, I think that should be okay, because otherwise that would mean refusing it and saying we've got to bring it back. Is that right?
If it gets refused at the district, yes.
Yes.
Whereas- would you like me to read what I've
Yeah,
got so
please.
far from what you've said? So committee would support approval only once the West Sussex County Council highways queries were satisfied as to the safety of the access and egress from Turners Hill Road. The urban design guide recommendations must be addressed. The ecology surveys included in the assessment around watercourses have not been completed and must be before this can be determined.
And I think there's also, from the ecology point of view, it's about the biodiversity and the wildlife.
okay, so that's all been taken care of.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
great.
right. Thank you. Councillor Woods. Right, so we'll vote for approval. All those in favour? Oh.
Carried.
Thank you. Whew. That was a good one.
Lots of reading.
Excellent.
I enjoyed this one. I really did.
Yeah.
That's
Super.
Great. So that means we've got to the end of our next meeting is the 14th of August. Look forward to seeing everybody then. And we'll close today's committee meeting at 7:33.